This is the Jay Pitt Show.
So interesting week in the world of real estate, huh?
Yeah, well, it is kind of.
It is kind of.
Is there something like you saw in the news you want to bring up?
Well,
before
I mean,
jump
what do
in?
you have, and I can pivot.
Well, I'll
if
tell
we
you
need
like
to.
I had a couple things. Mortgage rates have fallen a
Mm-hmm.
little bit. I had Trump is apparently taking
That's one of
steps to stop institutional investors from buying single family homes.
Right. That's one that I was talking about.
And I don't have, in the housing prediction markets.
Well,
I saw that was another thing that's
housing.
possibly
I wasn't
coming.
going there. I was going anywhere. Compass merger.
Okay.
Has overwhelmingly passed shareholder vote and could close as soon as tomorrow, which is Friday, January 9th. This won't air until next Monday, so maybe it will have already closed by the time you hear this. But yeah, anywhere Compass merger is a pretty substantial, industry shift. Obviously, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much your typical. I think the majority of our listeners are real estate practitioners. And you may not know who Compass or Anywhere are. I don't think we have a Compass affiliated office locally. If you really want to get into who Compass is, they are kind of a late industry player with a huge market cap. Very well funded by VC, very tech forward, very luxury.
Yeah, I would say it's
focused.
very luxury brand.
It exists in the majority of high priced markets around the United States.
They're very prolific in Denver.
They are, but I mean, I don't know. They have a huge market cap. They do have a ton of earnings. They are the tech forward brokerage.
So Anywhere's buying Compass, or they're merging.
No, it will be the opposite. It will be Compass essentially absorbing Anywhere and trying to continue to operate the brands, most of the brands that they own, as I understand.
Why
it.
don't you just describe a little bit what Anywhere is?
So Anywhere is a conglomerate, if you will, a holdings company for Better Homes and Gardens, Century 21, Coldwell Banker, residential and commercial, Corcoran Real Estate, ERA, Sotheby's International. So interesting, like what they do with their Coldwell Banker luxury brands, like that's very prolific in California, and what they do with Sotheby's, which obviously is present here in this market and is a high-end brand in all markets that they exist. They steer towards the luxury market. So with Compass being kind of a direct competitor, I don't know if that means like these franchisees out in certain markets will convert their offices to Compass offices. I really don't know. But Compass has invested a lot in tech. They, have some progressive ways of looking at things. They're currently in a spat with Zillow. That's been in the news over data sharing and permissions and kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum, as far as I can tell. I'm not extremely well versed, but on the opposite end of the spectrum from Zillow on the whole clear cooperation kind of debate, which essentially means that, Zillow thinks that every listing should be public immediately, right? It's self-serving for them in that scenario. And Compass is like kind of more on the side of the seller.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what they're positioning, saying, well, a seller should be able to dictate how their property gets marketed and how it doesn't.
So I definitely get where they're coming from, doing luxury kind of, properties. You probably have some people that want it more of a private listing.
Yeah. Exclusivity
Yeah.
As to who they allow showings to. I mean, certain homes you don't want just anybody walking through.
Or even seeing pictures of.
Or seeing pictures of online. So anyway, that's a whole thing. Not to make it too much about that because we're talking about the Anywhere Compass merger. But essentially, like Compass stock would be issued to an equivalent value of Anywhere shares owned. And essentially, I mean, that is usually the indicator in a merger as to who the controlling party is. I mean, Anywhere's stock value has gone down of late, whereas Compass may be down with the market, but I think it's a much stronger. It's a much stronger.
So why do you
stock to
think
hold.
this signifies a pretty big shift?
I mean, it's just more and more consolidation. We've talked at length about the NAR settlement on this podcast, and if you think about it, in a lot of ways, the NAR settlement made competition for the small player even more challenging. Brokers being at risk of litigation for widely accepted industry practices with the, inability to defend themselves or procure a legal team based on the cost of a legal defense. It's a pretty daunting kind of prospect to consider as a broker. And obviously, the more successful you are, the bigger target you have on your back. But also, it's not near enough to procure the kind of legal defense that you need, right, to protect yourself for following industry accepted practices. And large settlements will put you out of business, whereas a company like Remax that has 100,000 agents nationwide, or a company like Anywhere, a company like Redfin, a company like Compass, a company like, an organization like the National Association of Realtors, which paid the largest settlement, has, millions of real estate agents as dues paying members that give them the capital they need. So, it's challenging. So what I think you're seeing, what you're going to continue to see, is continued consolidation. And that's just a reality. I mean, look at Zillow. Zillow's consolidating. They're buying people. Look at the Redfin purchase by is that Quicken? Quicken Loan bought Redfin. I think.
Yes.
Quicken Loan bought Redfin. I mean, the industry, guys. Okay, hear me now. The industry, and you know this as well as anybody because you participated in a real estate tech related startup. The industry has a huge market cap. Like the value, the percentage of GDP wrapped up in housing is a gold mine for large companies.
Yeah.
They all are trying to grow and consolidate to grab a larger share of that 18 to 20% of GDP that is tied to housing. That's just what it is. So you're going to see more and more of it.
Yeah. Do you feel pretty confident Remax is?
Well, there's been rumors there.
Yeah.
There's an influencer. I'm not going to glorify existence with names, but it's safe to say Hannah sent me a couple of his videos. You might be seeing reaction videos to some of his content soon. Seems like a blowhard. Maybe people say that about me. I don't know. But he seems very sure of himself that Keller Williams is going to get purchased by Remax. Excuse me, the other way around. Remax is going to get purchased by Keller Williams. I don't really see it.
What's his basis for
Well,
this?
he's talking about stock price going down. He's talking about reduction in staff at corporate. I mean, here's the thing. I toured the Remax corporate headquarters in October. Okay. It's the second time I've been there. The first time was 2015 when I launched my brokerage. When I launched my brokerage in 2015, they had an 8-story office building that was pretty much 100% Remax employees. Now they have 4 floors of an 8-story office building. Now, what I'll tell you is that the industry has changed wildly in that 10 years. And it takes way less.
I was about to say that.
It takes way less manpower to operate a firm. So yeah, they've cut employees. They also went public, which demanded efficiency. That we're a privately held company that probably had bloated operations, and they've gone public since then, and which demands profit motive. which they've made plenty of profit before. But also, stock price has gone down substantially since 2021. But what major real estate stock has not? So I don't know. Keller Williams has the luxury as a private company that no one gets to see their books, right? And yeah, they are very successful in terms of agent count. I don't think they're growing at the rate that they once were. So, I don't know. And yeah, Remax is kind of an aging brand, but they've done a lot of really good things in recent years to refresh that brand. And our office is a prime example. We're over 100 agents. We're incredibly profitable, right? We have the most productive agents in the market on average, despite being significantly younger than most offices. So I don't know, man. I mean, my office has nothing to do with it, but the fact that Keller Williams is a privately held company and Remax is a publicly held company,
Yeah.
I think would present some unique challenge. And even if they did purchase, I have a contract. I don't think they could require me, just like I don't think the Compass people can require by law
To
that
rebrand.
the Sotheby's offices that are franchisees rebrand.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it would kind of be a blow.
I really don't want to buy a bunch of new signs.
I'm not going to. I mean, but so anyway, I don't know if that's going to happen or not. It would be big news. I really don't think it's a thing, but it's really not the proposal that I take issue with.
You should do a bet with the guy.
With the individual. It's not the idea of it that bothers me. It's the smugness and certainty when, I don't see the credentials to it. It seems like internet fodder to me.